Welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben McCann, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of lobster diving in the Keys. I'm free diving for some bugs. It's pretty shallow water, only about 10 or so foot, and this is kind of the first really lobster sort of piece of structure I found all day, and there happened to be a nice little bug under there. I already did one dive, checked it, saw he was in there, came up the surface, went back down, and then decided to push him out from the side I came in on, as you're seeing, and just kind of get him out in the open. Once the bug's out in the open, he doesn't have any sort of defense really against you. So if you have a net, it's really easy. You just kind of tickle him out. Once he's out in the open, then you just kind of tickle him in the face and shoot him into your net. Yeah, so that's my first bug of the day. I gave him a real quick check. He ended up being legal. And this area has all sorts of structure. It has coral heads, it's got fan coral, it's got little ledge lines, little holes, all sorts of little stuff. It's got old lobster traps, the whole 9 yards. It's got all sorts of structure. And so we just kind of came in for the day on the boat and anchored the boat and just went and did our thing. Everybody kind of split up, went different ways, and yeah, I kind of went off this direction and started finding a couple bugs. As you'll see, this bug was actually jam-packed in a really small little hole about the size of a tennis ball. And I didn't even have really enough room to get the tickle stick behind him, let alone, you know, hand or anything like that. So I tried to tickle him out. He was not going to come out. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to try and grab him with my hand. I tried to grab him with my hand. I got a hold of the bug, but the problem was when I gripped him with my hand, you know, and I made a ball shape with my hand, I couldn't pull my hand back out with the bug. So I just kind of left him down there. I regrouped a little bit, went back up to the surface, got a nice little breath, went back down, and decided to really just try and get him out with my hands. As you'll see, I spent a lot of time sitting here holding this lobster. The whole duration of this clip, I got my hands on the lobster and I'm trying to wiggle him out, but there's really no play. And lobster, grouper, anything that likes to go on a rock, they're all really good at rocking up or wedging themselves in a rock. And you really can't get them out really easily most times if it's a really tight situation. Which this happened to be. I normally don't like grabbing lobsters. I'm actually really opposed to grabbing lobsters. I feel like most times I break antennas off. I can't get them out, you know, anywhere near as quick as I could with just a little more technique and a tickle stick. So I typically don't try and do that, but this bug was so jammed in that hole I didn't really have much of a choice but to just go ahead and grab him by the front of his face. I grabbed him. Another really nice sized bug. This is my second bug of the day. Like I said, got him up to the surface. Checked him, and it was another nice legal lobster. As you might be able to tell, there's a lot of current. You also might not be able to tell, but there's a lot of current. So swimming around with the jug and the bag and everything, I'd get real tired. So I was just kind of swimming along slow. I checked the bottom, and then when I'd stop and find the lobster, I'd drop my little jug there to mark it, and then I'd kind of get a little breathe up before I went down. In most cases, it was much longer than I'd usually have to for only 10 feet of water, just because I'd be pretty winded from kicking the jug and everything around, just dragging that through the water. This is the third bug of the day, kind of like a little crescent-shaped ledge. Really easy to spot. A lot of these lobsters, they're just kind of sticking their antennas clean out on the ledge, especially if they haven't been messed with for the day. A lot of lobsters will literally just hang out with the majority of their antennas just sticking clean out of the ledge. You can just kind of swim along and you know, see them from the surface. This lobster is really easy to get. I was kind of gentle. I like to be kind of gentle and technique, I guess you could say, specific with the lobster, and kind of have a game plan going down there and what I want to make the bug do so I can kind of get him in a position where I can catch him. Typically, whenever you're sort of gentle and calm with the lobster is not too crazy with you. Another thing I hate doing is trying to drag the lobster with the tickle stick. I've seemed to notice that never really works well. With the tickle stick, you want to almost tap them. That's what I've, you know, kind of found works best, is just tapping the lobster. So here I just spotted another bug as I was swimming along behind that big coral head. You might not be able to see him. He was that one was a little more tucked in there. I saw him while I was on the bottom. So I swam back, grabbed my jug that I had dropped through this little hole in the ledge, so the current would have blown my jug away. And then I swam it back up to the coral head over here with my lobster on it, so I could kind of regroup. get a little breathe up, and then go down and catch the bug. As you'll notice, there was actually, in this clip, you could tell how many boats were just really around. There was boats all over the place, as you can see there too. I had boats driving by me. My boat was roughly 70 yards away from me. Yeah, everybody's just kind of checking out this area. The lobster actually right now is directly under me. He's positioned in kind of just a little small crack in one of the ledge lines here. I kind of am figuring out how I want to actually approach this lobster. I decide I'm just going to go ahead and I kind of come in from, typically you come in from the front, but I got my arms almost wrapped around this coral head so I can actually fully extend that tickle stick. But once I got it in there, it was, it's typically pretty easy as long as you're gentle with it. But I got it in there, tickled him right out, grabbed him, and yeah, right back up to the jump. Super easy. It's always smart to check all your lobsters, even if they look to be well over legal. You always want to check them all. At least I like to, just so you always know what you got in your bag, and you make sure you don't have anything undersized, just to be safe. On this dive, I happened to spot two, as you can see me point out. There was two kind of right by each other there. I'm going down for the first one here, who's in kind of almost a setup just like earlier, a nice crescent-shaped ledge. I go to tickle him out, and this one wanted to stay down towards the bottom more. He didn't want to get up on top of the grass. He wasn't super antsy to just leave. He kind of wanted to stay in there a little bit. Sometimes the smarter bugs or bugs that have been messed with a little bit want to do that, kind of like him. He actually ended up going into the net, jumping right back out of the net, and thanks to good reflexes, when he hit my chest, I was able to grab him really, really quickly and secure him against my chest. And then, yeah, once I had a hold of him, no big deal at all. So I grabbed this bug, brought him up to the surface. Again, check my bug, and nice legal lobster there too. So rock on. This is the dive. I'm going for the lobster actually right next to him, just like a little, I guess like a hole shape ledge over, real close to him. I like to make sure, as you can see, I'm grabbing my net, so I don't have my net just flailing around or tangling up on me while I'm under there. So once I get him out, I'm just ready to catch him. So I got my net tight, and then I let go of it once I get him out. So once he shoots into the net, he can take the net and do whatever he needs to with it. So this one didn't really want to come out, and then when he did, he's kind of shot all over the place. This was a particular bug I tried to get to just kind of slow down a little bit on me, because he was a little antsy, and I finally got him kind of out in the open, and I could just get my net behind him and bring him right to the surface. A lot of lobster stuff that I've done is just about getting them in the open where you can catch them. That's typically the easiest way to do it. I guess unless you're hunting them with your hands. If you're planning to just grab them, that's probably the last thing you want to have happen, is the lobster get in the open, because then he can run from you in all directions. You can't really pin him up against anything with your hands. But if you're chasing around with a tickle stick and a net, pretty much easiest if you just get him out in the open. So I found another bug here. This bug has already been agitated. There was a couple of them in there, and this was a little bit of the better size one. As you can tell, it's kind of silty in there. We let it sit for a while and then kind of came back to these bugs, and I finally am now getting to this bug, but he's pretty agitated. So you can kind of see, I don't really hit him that much, and he's still kicking all over the place. He actually ended up just kind of helping me out there and shooting right into my net. But typically, another thing I like to do is just try and not mess with them a whole bunch. It just makes the process pretty hard. It silts it up, and then the bugs are all irritated. But yeah, that bug came out right in the net, grabbed everything else laying on the bottom there, and then came up to the surface. Gave him a nice check, and then stuffed him in the bag. Let's see what we got here. I think this was about the 8th bug of the day or so. We started teaming up at this point, trying to fill our limit. Another thing where it really comes in handy with being gentle with lobsters. If it's a deep ledge, you really do have to have a pretty good game plan on how you're going to get that bug out before you just start playing with them. Because if it's deep, that bug, you can lose him, because he'll just shoot way back up in there, and you can't even touch him. You can't hit him with anything. You can't see if it's hooked up, and you end up losing lobster. So you kind of want to have a little bit of a game plan, especially if you're on a deeper sort of ledge or something like that, like I had here. So I kind of knew I wanted to come in from the right side. We'd already seen this bug in there. Slowly tickled him out with that tapping sort of technique. Mainly, the main reason I like to tap them is because a tap is almost just like it's almost just a little irritating. but it's not guiding him in any way. He's just getting tapped, so he's going to run from it. Whenever you go to drag the tickle stick on him or put a pressure, like constant pressure on it, they typically hate that, which you might think is a good thing because they'll go forwards or wherever. But they typically just hate that altogether. They feel like they're being caught and they freak out and go crazy. If you tap them, they'll typically just walk along the bottom clean out like that one did. But yeah, here we go. We found another one right here. So I believe a pretty good sized bug. As we were dragging along, we started dragging after we kind of broke up and swam around in our main area. We kind of hunted all over that, got that a little dried up, and then started just dragging behind the boat to find more coral heads, more ledge line, little holes, anything like that. We started going along, just snooping around looking for new stuff. That's a technique a lot of people do to find more lobsters and cover ground much faster than swimming. If you're new to the Keys, that's something you'll see a lot actually. So this guy's just kind of sitting there. It's pretty easy. You can see I bring my net against the edge of the rock because most times lobsters like to shoot right along the edge of whatever they're on, because they're not going to just want to leave typically their structure, because they're not super smart, but they're relatively smart. And they know, if they're leaving their safety of their home, they just don't feel safe. So they typically like to kind of hug that structure. But here I am grunting at Josh. We just let go of the tow line, and we saw multiple bugs on the stretch here. You'll see I'll catch this bug. It's actually an undersized bug. Caught him. I was grunting at Josh and Colin, letting them know there was bugs over here. And then as you can see, they're starting to try and work on one directly under me right where I was when I came up with this bug. I checked this bug. He was short. This other bug shot out of the hole. I kind of chased him down. This is the one Josh and Colin were trying to get a hold of. I just got to the surface, so I had a little bit of time to breathe up. I had my eyes on the bug. I had a tickle stick and a net ready, so I was comfortable to go right down and just kind of close the deal on this bug. So you can see once they're out in the open, they don't have anything to hide in. So he's just walking around. He's trying to bump into something, find something with his butt there that he can tuck into. But yeah, I kind of used that against him by just placing it behind the lobster and letting him sort of walk towards it and then tapping him. So that bug ended up being a nice legal bug. The first bug I caught there was undersized, so I let him go. But that second one was a nice legal bug. So yeah, he went right in the bag. Nice bug, good guy and a big guy. But, yeah. Another thing I was doing while I was in these sort of lobster grounds, I was swimming around with a spear gun a lot. So you can't really tell in most of the videos, but I'd swim around with a spear gun just in case it were to bump into a black grouper or a red grouper or hawkfish, mutton snapper, something like that. So I'd be swimming around with my spear gun a lot to kind of kill some time, and then when I'd find a lobster, I'd make a little game plan, grab my net and my tickle stick off my jug, and then I'd catch my bug and keep on going. And that kind of makes the process a whole lot more enjoyable and fun, because you're not just sitting there swimming with nothing to do. Hunting at the same time for both lobsters and other fish, so it's pretty fun to get out there and do this. This is another bug I found. This is the last bug of the day for me, and a nice juicy big one. This bug was a little bit of a struggle. I got him out real quickly, and then I got him pretty comfortable with catching a lot of, I caught a lot of bugs for the day, so I got a little loose and didn't secure him quickly and just kind of let him do his thing. He happened to shoot, as you'll see, right back out of the net. A couple times actually, and I ended up chasing him around. I let him use that walking technique against him to shoot right back into the net. But once you get your hand on him, it's kind of game over. So I got my hands on him. That was it, and then that was the last bug of the day for me. I think we had 40-something bugs, and yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. It's a quick little lobster vid. I believe this is pretty much the opening day of like the regular lobster season, but yeah, fun day on our Keys trip, catching some nice bugs. So thanks for watching. See you guys around.